You're listening to the Racer to Racer podcast presented by Race 92. Race 92 is a vintage-inspired racing apparel brand specializing in celebrating vintage race culture and adapting to motorsports today. Check out race92.com to see the many different shirts we offer. I'm your co-host, Aaron McAtee, other co-host. You may have seen him walking out of a Great Clips with a big old smile on his face. You've probably seen him at a dirt track. He is Scott Bowie.
Hello, Aaron. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Been a tough weekend, but it's all right. It's all right, man. So, it sounds like you might need to go to the Great Clips at some point.
Hey, man, Great Clips. What's the other one? I've been saying the wrong name altogether. So technically, it's Sports
Clips.
But we're just sticking with Great Clips because that's kind of where I've taken it so far. So we're just going to stick with that. But yeah, I may have to go get the varsity cut. We'll see.
That's right.
But we have a great show today. It is actually part 2 of the Willy T Ribs interview from last week.
Yeah, Willy never fails to deliver. It was such a great talk with him. I like Willy. He's a funny guy. And I just find him interesting. He's really his own man, and boy, loves his son. Man, he loves that shooting and all that with his kid, and moving from California to Texas just so he could have a better teacher and all that. I think he may go into that in this episode, but what a great guy, and it was just so enjoyable to speak with him.
Yeah, and in this second part, I think is the first part was funny, but he seemed a little more humorous in the second part. Made me laugh a little harder.
Yeah, he relaxed a little bit and lay his hair down, so to speak, and told a few stories, and so that it was really fun. That's what I enjoy about doing this show. So.
Yep, and don't go to the club with Mike Tyson. That's one thing we learned from it.
Yeah.
Or go to the club with Mike Tyson. I don't know, depending on how you look at it.
Right, that's right.
But before we get into any news, I was going to say thanks everyone for liking and subscribing so far. If you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe. And we're also found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe on there as well, and we appreciate all the support.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We appreciate it.
So racing news. So IndyCar race, Newgarden wins.
Newgarden wins. He's good there. Always good there. Man, the wheels are falling off of Ganassi Racing and the Scott Dixon. And actually kind of come off on both cars. One fell swoop there, but Alex is going to have to earn this championship if he's going to win it. As Pato's in the lead now,
Yeah, Pato's in the lead now. Yeah,
and he's very deserving too. And I hope it's just a great fight to the end, and I hope it's a safe fight to the end, which I'm sure it will be. And we're just lucky enough to be able to watch it.
Absolutely. In other news, NASCAR, Kyle Larson, he's still winning. He didn't win the NASCAR race. He almost did.
Yeah, he ran third, I think.
Yeah.
I think he led a portion of it. Ran third, of course. He comes back, and he hasn't been in a midget for months. Said he was rusty, but got both ends of the BC39. And I will tell you that I didn't feel like the car was very good on Thursday night. I mean, he had to really, really drive the wheels off that thing. That thing was a handful. If you really watch it, how often he's on the brakes, he's got the wheels locked up, he's trying to get the turn. The car was really super tight. He just kept finding lines. Thomas Mesrall, he was super fast and made a critical error, which caused him to take himself out, essentially. So Larson may not have had a chance to win that. But that's what happened, and Kyle won. And, hats off to him, man. He's just been on a roll. Then he gets into a dirt late model, I think, the very next night, won for Rumley's. So he's just so good. And like people keep saying, it's just everybody always wanted to know what the golden years were like. Well, this is what it's like. And so, if you get a chance, get out and watch him.
Yeah, I was at the BC 39 Thursday, and you're talking about him having to use the brakes more. I really noticed him coming out of the turn. The brake rotors were, red hot. And I didn't notice it on really anyone else's, so I don't know if it just his driving style or if something was kind of wrong.
Well, the car was just tight, and it was really, really fighting it. They kind of reworked the track. It stayed a little tighter than I think they anticipated, and he really had to fight it. And and here we go again. Though he found a way, and yes, Team S took himself out, but you got to be there to capitalize on it. So,
yep, and that's what makes racing great. It's finding a way.
That's right. That's exactly right. As far as someone we didn't cover 2 weeks ago was Cody Swanson's big weekend when he took home $77,000 at Raceway Park for winning he won the Silver Crown race and the sprint car race out there, and there was tiered bonuses if you win all three. It was 100,000. He won two. He got this 50,000 plus the winners checks for each one, plus must have been some lap money in there too. So congratulations to the best payment driver of his era, and hopefully we'll get Cody on here sometime a little later in the year when the schedules kind of wind down. And really kind of listen to him and talk to him and get a real insight to his racing. And he's been doing a lot of stock car racing this year too, and I really hope that leads somewhere for him because I don't know anybody who's more deserving of climbing the ladder than Cody Swanson. I mean, he showed everybody he wins whatever he gets into. So,
and I heard he fixes AC air conditioners as well.
Oh yeah, well, he fixes the AC, but I don't think he does. But I think I guess in a pinch he will. But yeah.
Well, I don't think was there anything else we're missing?
Yeah, on a personal note, anybody who watches this knows me personally or knows anything about me. My mom passed away Thursday night. Luckily, she passed after the BC 39. So she got to hear her final race. She didn't get to watch it. She was in a lot of pain. And, her family was around her. And we were all just talking and sharing stories from when we were kids. And it's exactly how she would have wanted it. And unfortunately, she left the world. But, like I told her, it was a hell of a ride. And I could sit here and tell you stories for years and years, seemingly about my mother. But greatest racer I ever met, toughest human being I've ever known. So, yeah.
Well, we're definitely sorry for your loss.
Well, I appreciate that. And I want to thank anybody who watches this who's reached out to us as well. I mean, so many people who used to come to our shop, old family friends. We've literally received a couple of hundred text messages and phone calls, and that's how much she meant to a lot of people. And so thank you.
Well, I think we will go ahead and get into the Willy T. Ribs interview part 2. Hope everyone enjoy.
I hope everyone enjoys. Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, I was just on the phone with them before I got on Zoom with you.
How did that documentary Uppity kind of come about? And Adam Carolla, don't know him at all, but man, I really like his approach to things because he is who he is, and he makes no bones about who he is. And I just really respected the fact that he did that with you, and did such a great job with Uppity.
Oh, it all spun off from the film The Racing Life of Paul Newman. And I did a piece in that, and when that premiered, Carolla got a lot of response on my interviews in that piece, he called me and he said, well, I kind of like to do a piece on you. What do you think about that? I said, well, as long as it's accurate, we tell the truth. And he said, oh, we got a deal. So, we started in production, and he says, oh, we had probably been a couple of months in, and I was in LA in his office, 11 o'clock at night. Him and his director, producer, Nate Adams. So they looked at me and said, well, we thinking about a title? I said, oh, there's only one title. And they just stared at me, and I said, Uppity Inn. And the look on both of those faces, they're like, are you kidding? Al Sharpton be marching out here tomorrow if we go. Tell Al to calm down, okay? Get that hot comb in that hair again, son. I didn't, it didn't bother me at all, but so anyway, we trimmed it down to Uppity. And so they chewed on it a while, and they sort of did a little test marketing on the word Uppity. And I said, that's got to be the title, because that's what they called me. That's what I was called. I said, we can't lose that. That is authentic. And we went with it. And as it turned out, it was Netflix we were the 8th most popular film on Netflix for 2020 of all the documentaries.
Oh, wow.
Number 8 in the top 20 for that, for the year 2020, last year. You know who beat us by one? Michael Jordan's Last Kiss.
Really?
No, you're not Last Kiss.
Oh, Last Dance. Yeah. Last Kiss.
Right.
That's a whole different documentary.
Last Kiss. Yeah. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah. The Last Dance beat us by one. They ended up,
wow.
We were the only sports films in the top 20. They ended up 7th. Michael Jordan beat me by one. We ended up 8th.
Wow.
But they spent a lot more money than we did.
Sure. Now the success of that has come, it appears like the Speedway's doing one on Charlie Wiggins. And there is a great PBS documentary on Charlie and his wife and the times that he raced, called Golden Glory Sweepstakes. And I think the Speedway now is doing something along the lines of that with a project on Charlie, which is great. Through that documentary, you learn about a whole tour of race car drivers who were, not allowed to race with the white drivers and all that bullshit. And by all accounts, Charlie Wiggins was a mechanical genius and a hell of a race car driver. And
the timing of everything that's happened, I mean, whether it was Charlie Wiggins or Joey Ray, for example,
right.
Wendell Scott in NASCAR.
Sure.
I came along just at the right time. But my mother always thought I was still 25 years too soon. But I just at the right time, because let's face it, Barack Obama would have not been president in 1991.
Mm-mm.
No chance.
No.
So,
no.
It was timing is everything. Timing.
Right.
And but Charlie Wiggins, and I'm glad to see that Roger Penske's. I talked to Roger many times about his legacy. We know you won it all. You won Indy 1,000 times. You won every championship on the planet, with the exception of Formula One. Said, RP, part of your legacy as your curtain comes down is to transcend the sport. Make the sport an all-American look. Make it look like all sports. And I think he's doing it. Or making it aware. That's for sure.
And if I butcher the name of this, I apologize to everybody who's part of it. Is that called Next Gen that they're doing?
Yes,
Next Gen, yeah.
That's correct.
And they've been around over a decade, I believe. That I know of, a minimum, I believe. But now that they do that new parking lot by the speedway, they're always set up tracks on the weekend, and they've got the kids running over there. And
they've got this Force Indy now with Miles Rowe, and they're bringing him along, but the hot ticket, black, white, Asian, or Hispanic, is Ernie Francis Jr.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
It gets, I mean, at the bottom of the day, I don't, like I said, I've been in this sport for a very long time, and I don't care what anybody says. If you can race, you can race. And a lot of that shit goes out the door. Whatever stupid biases somebody may have, if you can drive,
I think Lewis Hamilton has probably proven that.
Sure.
99 times.
Right. That's right.
Right. 99 times he's proven that, and 7 world championships.
Right.
That answers everything.
I agree. I just, like you said, I do hope we're approaching a day where it really is just totally merit based. I mean, it's always going to be money driven to some degree. That's just how racing is, right? I mean, I don't care how much we don't want it to be that way. Auto racing takes a lot of money, but we are going. I feel like we're going down these right roads, and a guy like Antron Brown, I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. Man, that guy there, you get done speaking with Antron Brown, you're ready to run through a wall for that guy. I mean, he there's a guy who's so passionate about everything he does. Man, you can't help but get infected by it.
Well, and his career and his success has shown it.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
He's got blink of an eye reflexes and great car control, and just what he's done in drag racing is legendary, and should be recognized as such, just like Garlitz, just like Prudhomme, just like Shirley, just like Force. His name is right there.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree any more on that.
And I don't follow drag racing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge follower of drag racing either. But
yeah, but those names are iconic. You cannot, it's like boxing. You might not follow boxing, but you know the name Leonard, and you know the name Tyson, and you know the name Ali.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of which, that's one of your good buddies, right? That was Ali, and you were good buddies?
Oh, yeah. He was a great mentor. He was like older brother. And he great wisdom. And he said to me, he says, there's going to be times when you're going to feel pain, not from a crash, but from something else, emotional pain. He says, but you can't show it. He was very adamant about that. You'll see some, I'm not going to mention any name, but one driver had tears in his eyes because he felt he wasn't treated right. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Muhammad Ali would have none of it. Nor would my grandfather either. But you cannot show that. Ali said, I fought Ken Norton with a broken jaw. And I got broken the second round, and I fought 13 more rounds with a broken jaw. I never showed pain. And he said every time he hit me, it felt like I was hit with lightning. He said, and when he said that to me, I got it, sir. I got the message.
Right. Yeah. And I can't even imagine having to overcome not only the obstacles of just trying to be a great race car driver, and first and foremost, and then any other, periphery stuff and dealing with people's opinions and that have no idea what they're talking about. And
and Bobby Unser was very protective in that way. He said, most drivers not going to go with what you dealt with. They wouldn't even try it. It's unimaginable. He said, but you did it. And I think he was protective because he told me, he says, this is what they say. Okay. He says, it's not necessary. They shouldn't even be worried about what color you are. All they should be worried about is racing you. That's how he felt. But on the same token, he said, you go race the hell out of them. Don't even think about it. That was Bobby Unser, man. That's why I love him so much.
Oh, absolutely.
You mentioned, and I can't let this go without bringing this up. You mentioned Mike Tyson. And I will tell you, you and I have actually met each other one time before. I was downtown after the 100th running, and I was talking to Parnelli and Judy Jones, and down at the hotel lobby.
In the W Hotel?
JW, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was talking to him, and I think Walker Evans had even walked up. And you come over, and you're talking, and you start telling Parnelli and Walker Tyson stories. And it's just one of the great moments of my life. It really was, man. I'm standing there and Parnelli's just rolling and Walker's laughing and you're telling those great stories about Mike. And man, it was awesome.
Yeah, Mike was, I think the story was, I was it was in Cleveland, Ohio. It was after the 1991 IndyCar race. And Mike said to meet him at this nightclub, and we were sitting in a booth. Well, something went by my ear, and it was a girl's panties. Oh yeah, and when it hit him, and this kid hit me with her panties, and then you smell pretty good, and it was funny as hell. I mean. And it hit him right in the face. Oh, Mike was so funny.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. You just hear the stories about him and his Tigers, and just, I just can't imagine being that young, having that much money, and just, the world at your feet like that. That had to be insane.
It was. He was. Him and Ali, everywhere, and when I was with them, everywhere they went, it was like Santa Claus was there. It was the doors opened up, red carpet. It was amazing to see the reaction, especially Ali. The reaction for Ali was just wherever, whether it was London, whether it was LA, whether it was, London and LA is when I hung out with Ali the most. It was crazy. Unbelievable.
Well, he just come off, and obviously you knew him as a good friend, but from a distance, he just seemed to have so much personality, and it seemed like, such a genuine person. like the magic tricks and that he would do for the kids, and
he was good to everybody. He
yeah.
was good to. He was just so easy, and people. He made everyone feel warm inside. Never negative, never in a bad mood, never standoffish. Just an incredible human being.
And like you say, he's such a great mentor to you. I mean, you just the lessons to learn from that. I can't even imagine. Just you watch the things he's went through, you watch what he goes through, and then you see how he lives in his life, and man, it's really priceless. I would think.
No question. And I've been blessed. I'm going to tell you that right now, to have Ali and Paul Newman as mentors. Just those two, Ali and Paul Newman, two of the most prominent men on the planet, both mentors. That's and then Truman and Gurney and Bobby Unser and Bill Cosby. You just go down, all were mentors and supporters. What a life.
Yeah,
what a life.
But that's really a testament to you, though, as well.
Right.
That they saw that in you, and they saw how genuine and passionate that you were.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys, if they would have, experienced what you experienced, went through what you went through, they wouldn't be to where you are today. I mean, you're kind of an elite group. Definitely. A lot of people probably would have stopped at some point.
Well, also Uncle Bobby was talking about, he said that he said that him being who he was didn't make it. His skin color didn't make it any easier, but my skin color made it a little harder.
Yeah,
it's already hard, but
right.
for everybody. But he was saying that your color made it harder, but you never quit, and that was his biggest thing. Just
right.
never quitting.
And you mentioned a guy earlier, Wendell Scott, who I can't imagine what he truly went through, and
his daughter told me. His daughter and
I can't imagine.
And it sometimes it's hard to listen to. It's hard to listen to, because when I hear stuff like that, I try to put myself in that person's shoes. Okay?
Right.
I try to get into their shoes as much as I can to feel what they were feeling. And, even Janet Guthrie, Janet and I are friends. And, she went through a lot, right? And
sure. Yeah.
It was hard for her. I mean, Danica had a red carpet ride compared to James. And
we had Lindsay James on just recently, and we kind of asked her if she had a relationship with Janet, and she said at first no, but Janet had kind of warmed up to her, and she actually did come back to the 500, but Janet didn't think anybody would want to listen to her or talk to her, get her autograph or anything. So that just tells you what a tough time she went through.
Well, she is, in my opinion, the queen of Indy. She's the queen, and will always be the queen in my book. And she was always wonderful to me, and she's just super person.
Yeah, I saw her documentary too, and it was great. I think, and I told because I went to a screening of it at the Indiana Art Museum, whatever that is, off 38th Street, and I told the director, the woman who directed, I said, in a lot of ways, it captured that pressure cooker being an Indy really is. Just trying to make the show and having problems, and on top of the other scrutiny she's facing, and it just really, I thought it really captured, especially that time period, really well. It really, I felt it told a really good, gave a really good idea of what was really going on.
And in an era where racing is dangerous now, but in those days,
it
was very, very dangerous. And and the pressure that she was dealing with, I mean, she was incredible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And I was kind of sad to hear, that she kind of didn't think that the people here wanted her around, but it was good to hear that she had come back and warmed up to it, and she realized how much people really today, she's has so much respect today from people, and I think that's good. She deserves that, that recognition.
She of any woman that's ever raced the speedway, ever, she walks at the front of the line. She walks at the front of the line. And that's how whoever else shuffles behind her, they can debate. But Janet walks first. And
right.
I will defend her to the end.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, you're good. I was going to say, like, what's it like coming back to the 500? I know you come most years now, but I mean, do you think the more you come to the 500, it kind of, I don't know, maybe means more to you? You see all the fans that come up to you, want autographs, or kind of what's that like? Really coming back now after you've already done it.
Indianapolis is like my hometown. I mean, every time I come to Indy, just walking down the streets, walking in a restaurant, whether it's St. Elmo's or wherever, it's homecoming for me. And it's always been a wonderful experience. This year was my 30th anniversary for qualifying the Indy 500. 30th. And we did a Columbia Club put an evening, a sort of a get together, evening with Willy T ribs to celebrate his 30th anniversary. The place was packed. Columbia Club was packed, and it's an awesome experience. And people, I think people could relive it, and we did. We relived it that night, and the reception at the Speedway and the Penske Entertainment, they celebrated it.
Well, they should. It really truly is one of the great moments of the Speedway. Just the jubilation alone, just one man who it meant so much to him, and you could see it all in that one moment. It just, I mean, I always compare the two moments I always think about when I think of the Speedway. It's not the 4-time winners. It's not. It's that, and it's Little Al crying in victory lane, saying you just don't know what Indy means.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And those are the two moments I always go back to.
Yeah. It is. The Indianapolis 500 is almost beyond words. You can't, it's hard to articulate just how special that is and what it means to race in it. I could imagine what a football player would think or how he would feel being in the Super Bowl. Okay, whether you win or not, you were in the Super Bowl. Okay, Indy 500 same way. I mean, it is for a driver, for me, And the ones who've done it, like nothing else on the planet.
Right.
And
There's only like.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers have given their lives to be in that race. I mean, apart from the Isle of Man, which is a motorcycle race in Ireland, Indy is one of the most dangerous places on the planet.
Well, it gives and it takes.
Yes.
It truly does. I mean, unfortunately, there's families who experience the greatest of highs along with the greatest of lows. And then you've got others who never got to experience the high and only experience the lows. For an inanimate object, it sure lives and breathes a lot.
And when you look at how many people race in the race, I mean, the number is like around 750. I mean, that's a very low number. And, a lot of those people aren't even alive. So, I mean,
since 1911.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Not since 1945.
Yeah.
Since 1911. 700 plus.
Yeah.
That ain't much.
No, it isn't. So how did you once your racing career kind of wound down, how did you get into shooting? Where did that come from?
I grew up on a ranch in Northern California. My grandfather bought a 300-acre ranch when he retired and left the business to my dad and uncle. He bought a 300-acre ranch. And so I lived on the ranch with him as a young kid. I was up there every summer working because my family, you worked all the time, whether you were working in the company, putting up fittings or stacking pipe or going out on jobs with other plumbers that worked for the company, you worked. Well, I would go up every other summer. I would go up to the ranch, and then when I started my high school academics, I lived on the ranch with my grandpa and my grandma. So I did a lot of shooting, and I was a lot of quail hunting, for example, and dove hunting, and I liked shooting, and because my grandfather was really good at it, and that's what he liked doing. And he didn't like fishing, but he did like hunting. So I would go out and hunt, go bird hunting, and then when he didn't go out, I'd jump in the Jeep and go out bird hunting myself. Well, once I started racing, I didn't get to bird hunt much, but then once I started to slow down, I started shooting again. And then bird hunting seasonal, it's only 3 months. I wanted to do it more, so I started clay shooting. And my older brother sort of introduced me to sporting clay shooting. And I just didn't want to go out and shoot and practice. I wanted to go out and compete. So I started competing. And then Theo, my son, started shooting. And prior to, he was too young. He could only push buttons because he was only a little kid. He couldn't hold a shotgun. Then once he was old enough to do it, he started shooting around 12 years old. And by the time he was 14, we knew that he was on his way. So I left California in 2006 because I knew he could not be a world-class shooter in California. They don't have the clubs. They don't have the target setters. There's so many restrictions there, especially now that we moved to Texas, bought a ranch, and set up a practice grid for him to train on. And now he's one of the top shooters in the country and even in the world. So that's all he does full time. Sponsored by Winchester, sponsored by SVRA, sponsored by Dreezy and Chris Dyson. And he's half his sponsors are all auto racing, all drivers. Cool. So, but he's had a great career at that. And so I shoot now, but I don't shoot competitively. He's the #1 driver. He shoots full time worldwide. And when I retired, I thought I wasn't going to travel anymore. Well, next thing I know, I was going to Dubai, and I was going to Italy and England And I had to go with him because he was too young to rent a car.
Right.
So I was traveling again.
Yeah, I've never shot a gun. I would like to at some point. I have a lot of friends that have guns and stuff, but yeah.
Well, and I never had guns just to have a gun. In professional shooting, the gun is a tool. It's like the race car is a tool, right? We treat it the same way. It's just a shooter's race car. And so, you train with it, you practice with it, and develop the skills that it takes. It's like golfing. There's certain techniques to golfing, whether it's driving or putting. Same way with professional shooting.
So typically, when we kind of come to the close of our shows, I always have this question where I ask, hey, who is your kind of your biggest influences in that? But your life's so well documented, whether it's Truman or your grandfather or your dad and that. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you, what is the best racing story that you can share with us?
Without getting into salacious details?
Well, we can just make sure the names are not shared so we can save the innocent or the guilty or whoever.
Well, I mean, we've had victories, a couple of them in particular where we had some wild, great race. And afterwards we had what a Hollywood type of party. Yeah. Naked.
Well, yeah. When I think of Hollywood, I immediately think naked.
Oh yeah.
No names, just naked.
You never were at the Playboy Mansion, were you?
I never. I got invited one year, but I was on the other side of the country, and I missed it. It was I think it was a pajama party they were having there. I think it was New Year's. New Year's party.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. I don't know, man. I think I might have had to cancel wherever I was going.
Yeah.
They hit that one.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, at 66 years old, it's been a great ride. I thank the Creator. I thank my mom. I thank all the people that have been in my life, that have made it, that have brought me to this point. I kiss their feet, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and for me, it's been an honor talking to you. Aaron, you haven't asked him his Indy 500, your Indy 500 question.
Well, I think he kind of answered that, but I usually ask, what when you hear the word Indy, what does Indy mean to you? Is that what you're talking about, Scott? That question?
Well, that and then kind of what it's like on race day and stuff like that, and like you always kind of ask.
Oh yeah, no, I almost forgot about that. We were talking about Mike Tyson's Tigers and all of that. I lost track. So on race day, your first year at Indy, the parade laps, what is that like? Like, I mean, first off, Indy 500 obviously is the largest single day sporting event. You're talking between 300, 500,000 people combined in the stands and in the infield. I mean, that on race day, I mean, obviously practice, qualify, you don't have that many people. I mean, back then there was quite a bit of people for qualifying, but is it the first few laps, like for warm up laps, is it more just kind of like sightseeing, or when do you kind of get into the mode, like, just like any other race?
I told you how close Al Unser Jr. and I are, right? I talk to Al nearly every day, every night, and it was after driver's meeting. I think driver's meeting is on Saturday, right? Race on Sunday.
Yep.
So we're done with driver's meeting. We're walking, and Al says to me as we're walking, he says, "Hey, Willie, he says, the snake pit, you can see that when the driver starts engines, and as you're rolling off, just look to your left and the girls will pull their shirt up for you. You'll get a show. They do this, right? I thought, wow. I said, come on. He says, serious. And he was so nonchalant about it that I thought, okay. So I left my belts purposely loose. So they started the car. They started the car up, right? And so we're rolling off and going through turn one. Well, I had the belts loose so I could look up, and I was trying to see what he was talking about, right? It was funny as hell. And Al said, after he said, did you look? I said, yeah, but I was sitting down, so I couldn't see. I had the belts loose. I couldn't see anything. He said, oh, you just weren't looking in the right place. So I'm going down in the back straight, and I'm pulling the belts tight, right? Getting them all strapped. That was my opening parade lap at Indy.
So to say that I think it's safe to say you weren't overwhelmed by the moment. You're right in the moment.
Oh, I was in the moment. You take it all in, especially your first gig there. It is like nothing on the planet. And it lives with you because forever, because it's not a 3-day weekend. It's 1 month. Right. 1 month.
Well, it was back then. I don't know if you can really say that now, but
yeah,
right, well, like 2 weeks now.
We got 2.5, right? So, but no, I love going back there today. You get the same feeling, whether you're racing or not. You get a great feeling. The energy is the same.
Yeah, and we've heard that from every driver we've had on here. And Paul Page, we had Paul Page on here, and he says the same thing. He said, the moment you roll underneath that tunnel, it's just a whole different world.
No, it is special. And those words don't even scratch the surface.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't agree any more with that. I don't shed tears often, but when I do, it's usually at Speedway.
Yeah. It was awesome. And this year I was going to the track, and that place, if there wasn't 140,000 people there were three. There was twice that.
I was looking at the stands. Yeah.
I was in the pagoda, and you can really see the lay of the land up there. And I thought, well, if there's 140,000 here, well, then someone's not counting. Yeah, they miscounted. It was packed, and the energy, the enthusiasm, the happiness. People were just absolutely beside themselves that they were there. It wasn't like, we're at the end. No, they were like Christmas Day.
Yeah, it really did feel that way. It's just such a special place. And like you said, 140,000. I've been there a bunch, and it seems like the counting was just a little off.
I mean, the infield was empty though. So I mean, how many people are usually in the infield? So it's probably they just did away with the infield, and then the stand seemed pretty much normal.
Yep.
Yeah. Like and the snake pit,
like 300,000.
Because the stand, I think Kirk Cavan counted those stands, and I think they hold over like 200. At one time, they held over like 240,000 people or 225,000 people.
Yep. Yeah. They were. Everybody was happy.
Yes, they were. That was a great day. And then they have the payoff with Helio winning or Forleo winning. Yeah.
Forleo.
it was just awesome to witness. It's amazing how Indy is synonymous with history. Just think about everything historical that's happened there.
Yeah.
And it was capped off with him winning his 4th Indy 500. That is an awesome feat. It's beyond awesome.
I agree. It was. I was there for Rick's first win, and I was there for Haley. I've been there for I think 3 of Haley's wins. And I wasn't there for any of Floyd's wins, and I was there a couple times for Al's wins, but to see a number 4, to see somebody actually win the number 4, it's pretty special.
In our lifetime, you're damn right.
Yeah, I agree.
And he could easily get 5.
Oh yeah, no,
easily.
He is a very smart race driver. He's very enthusiastic. You're on all it, but man, when he gets behind the wheel, he is as calculating as a boa constrictor. And down the stretch, and I've always felt there was 3 guys that were really great down the stretch. Three right now. That's Dixon, Sato, and Castro Neves. To me, they're the best. They're the top 3 down the stretch, the last 50 miles, right? They are absolute boa constrictors. They just never get in any trouble. And then all of a sudden, like Bullwinkle, presto, here we are.
Right. And it's funny talking about Dixon, and there's a guy who's arguably the greatest driver of his generation, has 1 win there. And that just shows you how hard it is.
Oh, it is. And I mean, look at how many times Mario had been out in front and Michael had been out in front. I mean, it's just it's an incredible place. And the guys who end up, winning it more than once, they, I think, Ari Lyondike, for example, those guys, they know how to run it. And Al Jr., they just smart.
Al Sr., I mean, arguably Al Sr. may be the greatest driver to ever run the Speedway.
Exactly.
Really.
My stats, yeah.
Yeah, actually, and he was another down the stretch guy back, and I'm talking about the guys I mentioned are current, right?
Right.
Dixon, Castro Neves, and Sato, but back in the day, oh man, Al Sr. was always there. He was always there.
Well, people forget he almost got lapped when he won his number 4. He was getting ready to get lapped, and they radioed him, and they said, "Hey, you got to pick it up." And he was just sitting out there running. He didn't realize how hard they were running in on him, and he just picked up the pace, and because he just wanted to save the equipment. And
I was talking to Al Jr. about his dad, and he said to me, he says, my dad could carry a car better than anybody on the planet. He said he could just carry it. He never beat it up. He never abused the gearbox. He never over revved it. He never beat up the tires. He said he just could just go, and the equipment would be as good as new at the end of the race.
Right.
That's a hell of a statement.
Yeah, that is, especially for the times in which he raced.
Oh yeah, exactly. I will see you in Indy eventually.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I'll be there. I live 5 blocks from the track, so I'm always there.
We'll go and have a beer.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'll pay for it. I'll even pay for it. That shows you what kind of guy I am.
Union Jacks is a place a lot of people go as well.
You know what? My first year at Indy in 91, I was at Union Jacks nearly every night having dinner because we had a condo walking distance from it.
I probably saw you there, but I wasn't supposed to be there, but I probably saw you there.
Yeah, that's where we ate nearly every night.
Still there.
Yeah.
That
didn't they nickname that the wind tunnel? Some places nicknamed the wind tunnel.
I don't know about that. I've never heard that. It wouldn't surprise me though. And then there was McGillivree's that used to be off 10th Street.
Oh,
big racer hangout.
Oh, yeah.
Is it not there anymore? Do they close it?
Yeah, McGillivree's has been gone for a long time. The one is it the one on 10th Street?
No. Where do they do?
I'm
Don
getting
K
confused.
show?
Kelly's. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Kelly's is what I'm thinking of. Kelly's was on 10th. McGillivree's is by the closer to the Speedway.
Don K did McGillivree's.
Right. Yeah, it's still open. It's still there.
Yeah.
And then there was Kelly's at that was a racer themed bar. I'm sure you were there once or twice, but
yeah, I might have been.
I'm sure you were. Everybody was there at some point.
Yeah.
Are you still going to do SVRA stuff, or are you just kind of stepping away from racing altogether?
I'm going to be a diplomat.
Okay.
I'm going to be a diplomat.
So no more racing then, right?
Nah, next year I'll be 67.
Right.
Well, this old horse is I think if an athlete could play forever, they would. Look at every athlete, but the big man upstairs says, "Hey, you've had fun. Now let the rest, let them have a shot."
Right. I like the fact that on those SRX cars, they built that little door so you didn't have to reach your legs quite as high to get into the car.
We couldn't get it up that high anyway. I mean, Michael Waltrip's the only guy to get his legs over it, but then, once he got his legs in, he was stuck.
Right.
Poor guy. Boy, Mikey, his feet, he couldn't work the pedals hardly because his feet were so long. They were crushed up into the foot box area. It was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know he joked about it. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Oh yeah. He was cramping like he was an abalone.
Real quick, one story I heard, and you might have been in the motorhome when it happened, Willie, but it was on Haley Deegan's YouTube channel. Elio was talking about how he thought Cody Swanson was the AC guy.
What?
Yeah, it's on Haley Deegan's YouTube channel. It's the one with where her and Paul Tracy are getting into it. So basically, they're sitting in the motorhome and they're having trouble with the AC. So like Camping World supply these motorhomes, right? For you guys to.
Yes, they did. And a couple of them are a little light on the AC.
Right. So apparently this guy walks in with the SRX shirt, and Elio's like, "Do you work for?" No, he was like, "Are you here to fix the AC?" And he was like, "I guess so." And then Elio just kind of looks at me. He's like, "You work for SRX, right?" He goes, "I'm a driver," and it was Cody Swanson.
Oh yeah, no, Elio, he was. You talk about fun. Next year, word has it. Next season, there's going to be cameras installed in all the motorhomes. Now you're going to have to go
Brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they're going to have cameras installed for the show. Now you're going to have to go into the bathroom and change, but
right,
because prior to that we were just changing in front of each other.
Right.
Oh yeah. Now Haley, we had let Haley. You go into the room and close the door. Right.
Right.
Okay. Us with the men, we'll change out here. Go in the room, kid. And but yeah, everyone was changing in front of each other. We all got a chance to look what each other's physique looked like. And Bill Elliott was the funniest. But Bill and I were the oldest. Bill's like, I'm 6 months older than Elliott, right? And And Ellie was saying, well, actually, well, we don't look too bad, do we? You know, Elliot had a really good physique, and you know, he's thin, but man, he wasn't afraid to take his shirt off. And Tracy, oh man, Tracy looked like Michelin Man. I mean, that Tracy, oh boy, he took his shirt off, man. And this, you know, all the pecs were all bulged up, and you know, everything was all lifted. Cat was doing, looked like muscle hamster.
Oh my God! I tell you what, he was eating that stuff alive with Haley, and he said he was bringing back the mask, and it's good publicity. It was funny.
Yeah, it was a great time with great people.
Yeah, he's definitely not afraid to be the heel. Never has been. And man, in his day, that guy could race. Man, that guy could race.
Oh, he was fierce. He's always fierce. And he was fierce in SRX.
Yeah.
Yeah. He spun me at Eldora just on the opening lap. Just absolutely went bam right. And next thing I know, I'm in the back straight in a straight line, and I'm going like this. Tracy, right? Okay, all right. I'm gonna get you back, Tracy. So then I spun him. Then and then we got to Slinger. And then we really wrestled at Slinger. Right. We go, bam. But after the race, hey, you know what? We finished. We had a great time. We're put on a show. We're grown men. Ain't no babies here.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta have. I mean, somebody's got to be the bad guy, and Paul Tracy is not afraid to be that guy. So, I mean, that's good, though, you know?
Well, a lot of people ask me, how come you call him Dick Tracy? I said, well, is it because, is he a dick? I said, no, not because no. Dick Tracy was a cartoon. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I used to watch Dick Tracy. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard of it. It's probably way before my time.
Oh, it was. It was before your time, but there was a very popular cartoon, and Dick Tracy was a private detective. He was a cartoon character. So I always called him that from day one, back when he was racing Indy cars. Well, a lot of people was thinking I was being derogatory. You know, no, he was named after a cartoon character. And maybe not everybody thought that. But I did.
Well, in the old saying goes, braver than Dick Tracy.
Exactly.
That's the old saying, yeah. And so it used to be a race car driver. That was a high compliment, actually. If you said, man, that guy's braver than Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy.
Right.
Yeah. And still is.
Right. Yeah. That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Right. I think one thing, we're talking about like, SRX and all of the drama and everything. One thing that has changed since when, you were involved, maybe fights or whatever, is social media. It's amazing how, stuff just really gets blown out of proportion and really just grows because of social media. And then also, we're talking about Haley Deegan. She had this video where she was talking about where she had a couple different stalkers, and it's just, it's definitely a scary time with social media. But it's really amazing just how, social media really impacts everything now.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what. If Haley's got some stalkers, all she has to do is call me and Theo.
Yeah. Yeah, she talked about it. I actually went to see Jagger Jones race at Iowa when he was running the stock cars, and he was running against Haley. And I mentioned this on the last show too. So anybody out there, yes, I know I've mentioned this before. But I watched the autograph line. I watched the entire autograph line, and I told Robin, I told her, I said, Deegan's got to start thinking about getting security, because, some of those guys come through that line were just a little sketchy,
Well, they are. And she's, she's not like my wife. My wife is 6'2".
Right. She's tiny.
Yeah. My wife and Deegs is itty bitty. But she's, I can tell you what, if somebody touched her, she'd clock them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, she will haul off, and yeah, I could tell you that by looking at her in the face, in her eyes. She will swing on them, I guarantee. And that's what I would like, and I would expect that. I would expect that to be the reaction.
Yeah,
Right.
you got to. I mean, you gotta fight. You gotta defend yourself.
Yep.
And you gotta fight for yourself.
Yeah, she had guys like showing up to her house, you know, and her dad Brian opened the door and they were like, "I'm here to pick up your daughter." And it's just crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's you know, in a big personality such as yourself, I would think that in today's world, social media, man, you'd have some stalkers like that too. I mean, you know, because people are just drawn to that. You know, certain people are just drawn to that, and man, it's a different world. You got to be so careful today.
Yeah, you do, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
because we're living our life. We've chosen the life that we are involved in, right?
Right.
Everyone has their choice. Okay, but you can't infringe on someone else.
Right.
You cannot infringe on someone else's space or like that. It's not. That's not the era I come from. We didn't. You don't do that. You don't infringe on anyone else.
Well, I think
unless you're invited.
Yeah, right.
If you're not invited, you stay out.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't know very many race car drivers who really don't love their fans. They really do. I mean, you guys love your fans, but you some people don't grasp that you're sharing your experience with them,
right?
And you're letting that person take the ride with you in so many ways, and their lines get so blurry between, you know, reality and their life and your life and that sort of thing. It gets very complicated for some people, I believe.
Yeah. Well, in regards to Haley, I just hope that she has the right people around her at crucial times.
Yeah, and I think she will. Hopefully she will. I just it's scary. I mean, man, it's scary. I think.
You know, and Danica went through the same stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
So, you got a bunch of pervert wackos out there, and hey, look, man, we'll call you. Don't call us.
Right.
All right.
Well, Willie, thank you so much again. Yep. It has been a pleasure, and we will do that beer sometime.
It'll be next year, at least next year. Might not be this year, but next year for sure.
I've got it on my calendar.
Like I said, I don't drink beer, but if Willy T's drinking beer, I may make an exception. At least maybe drink something harder.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll give you some Tito's vodka.
There you go.
Or even better, Big Machine vodka.
There we go.
There you are. Yeah. Big supportive racing right there.
Oh yeah. Big Machine.
We'll do it.
Yeah. That's some good station stuff too. I had it for the first time this year. And man, I thought, holy yeah, man, this is Big Machine. It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you soon.